Hey y'all, really quickly, spread the word, send this everyone you know to our six old faithful subscribers. Make your family subscribe. Just turn off notifications. We're trying to change platforms to YouTube Live. We want to do it live because we're a little bit over the fakeness of AI. And we want you guys to see us fail in real time and, just face plant like we normally do. It's cool. We have a barrier to entry though, and that is 50 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We're at 35. Send, share, just click. Link will be in show notes. Thank you kindly.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey Liz, what's up?
What's up?
Happy recording our 7th episode. Woo!
Yes.
Yay.
Yay, we've made it to 7. I'm shocked. No, I'm not really shocked at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Frustrating. I'm gonna say that's a good word for it. So,
I was gonna say restful.
well, it should be restful. I should be resting. But my brain and my whatever's in me doesn't want me to rest, and so it's frustrating. And then when I try and do something, I am exhausted in like 2 minutes. Yeah, so I'm tired.
Well, you look good.
Well, thanks. I straightened my hair today because it was like it's been in a bun for since Thursday and I hadn't washed it. Had surgery Thursday, taking out the ovaries. And so I've been trying to make myself not do stuff, but it's very hard for me to just sit and do nothing. So
there is someone that I have to say hello to, and she wanted me to tell you that she absolutely adores you and loves you.
Okay.
That would be the reader that you had the most hard time with her feedback.
Okay.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say her name, but she was like, I had a conversation with her and she was asking about the book, and she was like, I got the first podcast, but I don't know if she didn't do it correctly. So I was like, here's what you do. So I had to guide her through following because she wants to stay up to date and stuff with it. And also, I think we should probably shoot her over the book proposal, generic, and have her give it a look see. And she'd probably be happy to do that. But she was like, your sister's awesome. I love her. Let her know I love her. I think she's amazing. I was like, I will do. I was like, I love her too. I think she's awesome.
Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, criticism she also was hard to hear for me.
It is. And it's easy. I think for you, it was easier coming from someone you knew, like our editor. I think that was actually really helpful. I also think that you're right in that you're sensitive, but if it comes across in a way that you can handle it, you're okay with it. And I think that's everyone,
Yeah, I just felt like we had poured our heart into it. Now this was the first run.
You know felt that way.
I mentally told myself this is going to be shredded.
I tried to prepare you.
I know, but then you just go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. Rewriting a book is hard.
Well, think about it in terms of this directionally.
Yeah.
The one cis male that we got, and he was fine, but he just went, oh, this is great. I love it. Not actually fucking helpful.
Right.
I need a little bit more than that. Like you're gonna have to
yes, for sure. Something, we definitely
do something
more than that.
Gives us a little critical feedback so we can kind of pivot or look at it more intently. Yeah. Anyway, so she says hi.
Yep. Hello.
you look good.
I don't feel good, but I'm feeling more like myself. Like yesterday I felt better than I had. And then today I didn't sleep very well. So I was really tired this morning, and
shocker.
This afternoon I was like, okay, I'm going to go do a couple things and then come home and do this podcast. So, so I did get a couple things done, although I feel like I've been doing 50 things today and nothing is actually done.
My to-do list never ends.
I know it doesn't. Mine doesn't.
And I have like
it is what it is.
Professional one. I have a personal one.
Yes.
I have become the best list maker.
Okay.
Like in my 40s, late 30s and 40s. I'm like, I have a list for everything. I have a
Yep.
list for things I want to do. I have a list for like things I want to buy, wish list shopping. I tick them off here and there.
Mhm.
I have a list for like things I have to get done today. I have
Sure.
a list for things that are goals in the future. I have a list on Google of restaurants. I have a list on Google of places I want to visit. In the places I want to visit, I have it pared down to restaurants, shops, clothing.
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
oh my God. But you know what? It does help
It
because
does help. When I
fleeting
find myself
comes
overwhelmed,
in,
I do a list.
right?
Yes.
When that fleeting thought comes in when you're trying to get something done, you're like, put it on the fucking list and keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I do use lists often, although not every day, because I generally, except for these 2 weeks, am guided by my calendar.
Right.
So
Same idea. It's still a list.
Yes, it is basically, but yeah, I'm like every 30 minutes, every sometimes 15 minutes, there's something going on.
And that
so,
organizational mechanism is a learned skill because I think both of us have like pretty intense ADHD.
yeah, I've never been
And
tested, but I'm pretty sure I do
oh
have,
yeah. Oh yeah.
we're
We're
self-diagnosed. I'm a
certainly
self-diagnosed person.
yes.
Yes. But no, yeah, I haven't ever been tested, but if I was, which actually I talked to one of my clients about that the other day, because he just got tested, and I said, well, where did you get that done? And so he told me, and he's like, yeah, it's like this amount of money, just go or call, make an appointment, and they'll do the testing. And I was like, okay. So anyway, one of these days when I have free time, I'll go do that. But I don't even know if it would help because I think I already know the answer.
Yes.
So anyway,
But yeah, it does help. And I
yeah.
feel like and that sort of goes to the podcast too a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because we had to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's taken, a lot of fuck around and find out and failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get to that point, because it's like, oh yeah, if you're all over the place, especially with you with 3 freaking girls, 3 kids, I mean, that had to happen. And I think it's true with my life too, like working 4 jobs, raising a kid on my own, making money and independent and nobody else to rely on. You have to get organized if you're gonna, and I think a lot of people give up. And
it's easy to give up.
It is.
Yeah.
But there is a little fire in both you and me.
Roommate 3. Thank you.
Hi, roommate 3. Hi, Rachel.
She brought me a tea.
Excellent.
Ooh, that's good.
So we have we're going to introduce a new segment today.
Yeah.
Which sort of goes back to the mission of this whole entire podcast too. Do you want to describe it, Liz, or do you want me to? Do you want to introduce it? Let's do our define this and then how to, but let's talk about the how to real quick in case anyone wants to skip forward.
So talk about, okay, so we're going to do a
segment.
Yeah, we're going to keep our define this. Mm-hmm. That will be every week, and then we're going to add something that's how to. So it can be anything in life.
How to cut an onion,
or how we did it, or
Martha Stewart.
Yes, how to. I will say right now, and I'll say this at the end of the podcast, but we now have a email address, so you can comment. I'm a little scared to put this out there, to be honest.
Do it.
I mean, we can get all kinds of comments. My husband the other day was like, you realize that if you do that and you read people's emails, they can be really blunt.
Harsh.
Like, oh, great. Like, don't have a problem with that. Because he said he would have emailed us about our last episode because he had some questions. It's like, okay. I was like, well, great, email. But
wait, what were his questions?
We chatted it out. Huh?
What were his questions? Oh, about the modesty thing?
No, purity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was kind of interesting. But our email is sisters declassified. Okay, so one word, sisters with an S, declassified @gmail.com. So
dear God.
Huh?
Oh dear God.
I know.
No, it's fine. I actually welcome it.
Sisters declassified @gmail.com. So And we'll add in, at the end or the beginning of the podcast, we'll address some emails. So if you have anything and you want to send it to us, whether it's
feedback,
good for you or you
ideas,
suck or
questions,
yeah, questions. We will take
comments,
them.
complaints.
Yeah, we're happy to address anything. We're very open book people, and we're doing this.
Burning questions.
Yeah. So go ahead, send an email away. But that is our thing. So we're gonna do the how-to, but I think first let's do the define this, which is very interesting this week. Rachel had to remind me what this was because I actually did not take the class because I believe that I was either
you may have been.
I might have been out of high school when she took theology class in high school.
Okay, wait. Do you remember? Okay, I'm gonna say it rhymes with Ark Randolph. I don't want to say his name. We used to say it was the School of Redundancy class of redundancy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, same class.
Okay.
I think you were there. You might have blocked it out.
Quite possibly. In fact, that's what I texted you earlier because we were chatting about this. I said, may have been a mind block.
Yes, sometimes that is common. I was talking with my girlfriend who we went to school in Indiana with, and I was asking her about like, hey, do you remember? Like I was trying to put together stuff. Like I was going through the book and I was in a stuck spot about a certain part of it. And I was like, I don't remember like what other people perceived of me at the time because I wasn't aware of how it didn't even occur to me like what people were thinking of me at the time. I probably thought that at the time, but again, looking back, I have no idea. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like, do you remember me being like depressed? Do you remember me being sad? Do you remember me being like, right? What was your perception of me at that time?
Right.
And she was the same way. She was like, dude, you remember anything? And I was like, no, that's why I'm asking you. And she was like, nah, dude, I was so screwed up at the time. I have no idea. And like, they were giving me all kinds of crazy, like she had a medical condition, which wasn't a medical condition. She was having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, you have a heart condition. Put her on freaking heart meds, all this BS. And no, she was having panic attacks because she was gay.
That is so crazy.
Yep.
It's horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that happens
a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Because yeah, it happens a lot. Anyway.
It does. And another podcast idea there. So our define this, I told Liz, I was like, let me do it this week because I wanna address it. So my word, which is not a word, it's a number, is 5,366. Let me explain. So if we were to use a word, we would say the Bible for this episode, King James Version of the Bible.
Sure.
So,
which was the only correct,
according to them,
the only correct interpretation that there was of the Bible.
Correct. So, and you were like, I don't remember that. That doesn't seem correct. So I just kind of Googled like a little bit of it to like just generally say, throw some things out there. And Liz was like, well, I don't think that's correct. And I was like, oh, I'm sure shit it wasn't correct. What was correct that we were told? Nothing. So if you take a book, let's say it's what's that? Good night. You know what I'm talking about? The children's book. Good night, Mr. Moon. Right? Okay. Fast forward 400 years. Oh, let's say that it's in the Aztec language, right? Which is almost completely decimated and we hardly have any of it left, right? Fast forward, so that Goodnight, Mr. Moon book was written 400 years ago, and it's been interpreted into 400 different languages over 400 or 500 years. And in between those languages, you have to have an interpreter for each of those languages for it to get interpreted into. Then it's been reinterpreted 5,366 times. Keep in mind, that is like a game of telephone across across continents, across languages, across
Yeah.
cultures, and across time,
Sure.
in which nobody has a clue what the heck was the original message.
Right.
So, in terms of that class, we were being told that the King James Version of the Bible was the most accurate and the most correct version. However, in the same class period, they were explaining that there were 5,366 different interpretations and versions over 400
Before
year
it got to the
period,
English language.
before it got to King James Version.
Yeah.
And I go, that's meant to defend its authenticity. We need to back up a lot and start to talk about this realistically, because that does not make me any more confident in it. In fact,
Absolutely not.
that makes me debate it quite a bit more, because I'm sorry. If I say a word, I had this conversation with a gas station attendant right here down the street. And I walked in and he goes, I just moved to El Cajon. And I was like, oh, the drawer. You moved to the drawer. And he was like, no, it means the box. He's not Hispanic. I know what box is in Spanish. Box in Spanish is caja, Kaja. Cajon is drawer. I didn't say a word. I just let him keep talking, because I was like, nobody. The Spanish word for box is caja, Kaja.
It may be like a Spanglish. You know,
so I'm like, just that simple word, drawer,
Yes.
box. And we're right on the border of Mexico here.
Right.
Just that simple little tiny thing. And now you're talking about, like, let me look. So let me give you a couple statistics here. So King James, how many versions of the Bible exist? 3,300 versions in over 2,011 languages, available digitally on Bible.com. This is from Wikipedia. Versions in nearly 19,000 languages at faithcomesbyhearing.com, and a similar number on the American Bible Society's Bibles.org. So, one word, Spanish to English, we're right on the border, same time frame. We have differing opinions. So, 3,030 versions, 2,011 languages, 19,000 languages on another site. What are we missing? How authentic do we think it is?
That is the absurdity of it, though, right?
Yeah. So, and in that same class too, Blark Blossy stated that the very original, like the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus, were removed from the dumpster at the Vatican.
Yes.
So the Catholic Church threw the Catholic Church.
I don't know if it was him, but yes,
threw these books out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody dumpster dived, book story, into the Vatican's trash can and pulled them out and created 3,000 different versions later, and we have the King James Bible. That does not give me faith. I have so many questions. So I'm not sure if that class was meant to reinforce our, solid handle or grasp on the fact that every single thing we did in our entire life was based on this book that had a very minimum of 5,366 versions over 400 years and multiple interpretations across multiple languages. That does not give me confidence that I should be basing my entire lifestyle on that.
Yeah.
If anything, it sowed seeds of doubt, right?
Right.
And if you just look at this, there was a really funny one that I pulled up, and let me just read it to you, which is kind of hysterical. Oh, dang it.
Did you lose it?
Yeah, let me go
forward. You gotta screenshot that shit.
I know.
As photos.
Basically, it was saying the same thing we're saying. Like, if there's this many versions of an old book, how much are we really going to put faith in it actually being correct?
Right.
Right. And there are books that I love. Absolutely. And if it had been translated into a different language, over a long amount of time, it still holds steady. Great. And if you want to base some principles of your life around that, awesome.
Yeah.
but don't shove it down our throats. Don't tell us this is the only way to be. You know, sit
Yes,
in your
and that
sit
it's
in your
100%
in
correct
your
when there
yeah,
is humans involved.
right.
Humans,
Well, and all of this came from a man.
right. But what I'm saying is humans are flawed. Nobody is perfect. If somebody was perfect in this world, you know, I mean it just doesn't happen. And so we make mistakes. So how's to know that the definition, which actually on Sunday, my kids were over Saturday, and we were talking about you know, the podcast and talking about a friend of theirs that was gay, which when we were growing up, he wouldn't tell his parents. This is back on the subject of that. And I knew he would send things to my house that he didn't want to send to his parents' house. There was it was just very uncomfortable for him because he was so scared to tell his parents. Well, my roommate one says, well, I've read that the original, because what she said was there was no talk of gay in the Bible. And I said, well, here's what I was taught, which was Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, where it says men laying with men,
Right.
stuff like that. So as far as like biblically, that's where they get the part where it's a sin. And she said, well, I've read a lot about this and it has been interpreted so many times. And originally it meant, or it was talking about male, like adults sleeping with children.
So
And
pedophilia.
I've never heard that before, but there was two other people that jumped in the conversation and thought the same thing. So that just, you know, it just makes you wonder about taking everything. I think any religion or belief system you have requires some faith. So if you choose to have faith that that's correct, then by all means have that faith. And if that's what helps you get through life, great. But you cannot wholeheartedly say this is God's word exactly, because you don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. It's been translated too many times. It's been out there so many times. And the fact that there can be such large changes in wording, you know, one word can change an entire meaning of a sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
Conjunctions connect.
Can or can't. You know what I mean? Changing it from can to can't.
Not.
Maybe in some like, huh?
Not.
Yes.
Can change everything.
Yes, absolutely. And so you leave out one word and you're looking at, oh my goodness. So I think if you're going to choose to be religious and trust something, you have to just have faith in whatever it is you're believing. But I also think that you definitely need to think on your own a little bit.
Well,
most religions tell you what to believe.
Right. In a day and age of alternative facts, propaganda.
Alternative what?
Facts.
Okay.
Fake media.
Yeah.
News that is unreliable at best because it's coming out so quickly at us and from all over the globe that we don't, and you shouldn't. If you think that everything you hear, read, and see currently is fact, then you have a mental condition and you should seek professional help.
Right.
And that goes both ways.
Yeah.
However you get that information, right, left, whatever you believe. And I think the bigger takeaway is if you're not able to question it.
Right. That's when it's a problem.
If you can't base it on something that you know, and science is that way, right? Science says that, okay, we have a set of facts. If we can recreate them over time and we get the same result, then we consider that a fact. And it is called the scientific method. When we have a work of literacy, a literary work that we have basically kept the same over time. Well, what, 1611, right? So 1611 to now, we're going on 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 600 years. And then we're saying that nothing has changed since then.
Right.
Right. And that we believe
terrifying.
We believe that is the truth.
Yeah.
and then we're going to base our lives around it. And you cannot debate whether
that's
or not.
the biggest, I think that's the biggest thing when they tell you you cannot question or you cannot debate what it says,
Right.
or what they tell you, their interpretation of it says, and they say this is the way it is. Because I mean, across religions, because whenever I did leave, I explored multiple religions.
Same.
And all of them interpret the exact version of the Bible differently with the same words.
Yep.
So it's just challenging.
Found it.
You did. Yay.
Okay. Here's the quote from, let's see, this is Quora.com, but it's an image and it's based out of the British Museum. So the oldest version of the Bible in the world is the Sinai Bible, housed in the British Museum. There are over 14,800 differences between this Bible and the standard King James Version. Just how much proof do you need that the word of God is nothing but the words of men?
Right.
And that's exactly what we're getting at. Because, okay, so if we took the Bible at its word, right, you've got these anti-abortion people, you've got anti-gay people, right? And I think that what you're talking about with Sodom and Gomorrah was sodomy. However, if you take it at face value, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because sodomy is not mentioned in the Bible. It's a man's interpretation of an interpretation over 14,800 times.
Right.
And more than 600 years ago. So who the fuck knows what it's saying?
Right.
However, if you want to talk about abortion, well, God killed all the firstborn in Egypt.
Sure.
And you're telling me God doesn't support abortion? Pretty sure that was a purge. That was a serious D&E.
Yeah.
I mean, there's contradictory evidence all over the place, but we can't push the contradictory evidence into a text that we don't know is true anyway.
Right.
There is no evidence to support some of this, and if anything, we're like, oh, okay, maybe it's some sort of historical account of events that occurred, but they're interpreted so many times that it's just not even worth arguing over.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, anything else to contribute to that? Because I thought that was just important to talk about it, because so many people just base their lives on it. And we see that so much today, especially in like the radical groups.
Well, and here's the
coalescing
thing.
around a tribe that just believes the same thing they do.
Yeah.
But I believe we've lost that idea of debate and being able to think and talk and have an intelligent conversation with someone about the facts, because there is no facts. People are very willing to believe anything as long as they have a group around them. And that is exactly what cults are.
Yep.
Scary.
Exactly what most religions are. I think most cults, any type of following,
One thing I really appreciate about your husband, Liz, is that we can disagree. Like, he and I see very differently on a lot of different things.
He and I see very differently.
But I appreciate the fact that we can sit and talk, and he will talk about it. And I am both willing to listen to him, and he is willing to listen to me. Yep. And we can have a meaningful conversation that maybe leads us to a absolutely different thing that maybe is the root of all this that we could agree on. And I really appreciate that about him.
Yep. I agree with that, because he's extremely, just for political reasons, let's say Republican, and I'm the opposite, Democratic. So, but we don't have a problem talking about things, because in any type of politics, you want what's best. And there's great things on each side, but literally we can talk at length over things. And not like hate each other. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to see each other's side of the story.
Yeah. And we've lost that, though.
Yes. Well, and when we got together, I was very conservative. I was right alongside with him. So I do understand that way of thinking. But over time, I've learned to think on my own and to figure out what I actually believe on my own. And so I have changed a lot, which is fine. And he doesn't have a problem with that. And we can talk about things. And yeah, it's great. I mean, he'll carry on a conversation with anybody about stuff.
He
He
does
doesn't
like
mind,
to
and he
talk.
doesn't get angry.
No.
You know, it's like, let's discuss.
Well,
So
and that goes kind of back to like also the thing that we've lost is active listening. We were talking about that a
oh
little bit
yeah.
earlier this week because
Mhm.
we listen to give a response or fix the problem. We
Yep.
don't listen to absorb what you're trying to say, even if the words don't match up with what you're saying. And
Yes.
that is a skill also, is going, okay, I heard you say this, but this is what I think you're trying to say. Does that make sense? And then reframing it in terms of your terms,
Mhm.
and then talking about it,
Yeah.
not just giving a response.
Right. You're listening to figure out what you're going to say back.
Right.
Instead of listening to hear what they're actually trying to say and then understand.
Yeah. Interpreting and understanding it in a way in which you both feel like you're on the same page about it. And
Sure.
that can be disagreement also. And I think
Absolutely.
it is so important. And that is sort of a good segue into the how to. So we've got a little bit of feedback on our podcast, and mostly from friends and family. And obviously, we're trying to do better each time. But one of the feedbacks or comments that was constructive feedback was that they're not long enough. We knew that. We are learning as we go. We appreciate your patience. But folks wanted to hear more stories. They wanted it to be a little longer. And so we tried to get this sort of that feedback along with, we know our really goal here is to give you guys some tips and tricks. So the segment that Liz introduced earlier is about how-tos. And this was a potential topic, was how to active listen. But I came up with a deeper one, which we can go as deep here as you want, or we can stay light and easy. I think there's humor here. But that goes back to active listening. The how to, you can introduce it, but I want to talk about it in terms of it goes to forgiving. And then if we talk about our mother, the idea of training her to active listen instead of having her listen for a fix.
Yes.
And I think you and I both do that with our kids really well too.
Yes.
And I think that goes to the how to forgive portion of it also. Because the active listening is not judging, it's sitting with it, trying to understand it, not judging, and then seeing what they're trying to tell you from a non-judgmental, just an understanding, a neutral space, and trying to get what it is they're trying to tell you, so you can figure out if they need a response or if they just need to talk.
Yes. Oh my gosh, mom is the worst at that. She's getting better. No, she's not getting better.
No, I trained her.
No.
Actively, okay. I trained her. I said, and this was like shortly after we like got out of the cult and stuff. And I kind of I ghosted you guys probably for about a year and a half, close to.
A horrifying year, by the way.
I really cut off all contact because I just needed the time to figure it out on my own. And I wasn't ready to process and deal with everything that I had been through. Now, when I started reestablishing relationships with my nuclear family in general, it was the case that mom still really wanted to just fix the problem, give advice, tell me what to do. And I was not ready to hear that. I couldn't deal with it. And I told her at that time, and remind her of it every now and again, but she's pretty good with me now, that I don't need advice. I just need you to listen.
Yes.
And I can't have you judging me, because I will then not be able to handle that. And I really just need to talk to you. And if you're willing to just listen and not give me your opinion or your judgment or your feedback or your opinion, then I can have a relationship with you. And that was a key for me in training her how to be an active listener and not judge. But again, and I have to remind myself sometimes.
Yeah, I have to remind myself with my kids, because I am a fixer.
Yep.
Yes, I want to fix things. I
think
want
all
everybody
moms
to be
are.
happy. I want everybody to get along. And I hate contention, and I hate um I hate any kind of um I hate it when my kids are hurting. So my first response is, oh my gosh, what can I do to fix it? You know, instead, lately, and I've gotten better, but Randy has to remind me sometimes, but I just listen to what they say and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You know, and I just listen to them. And I think that actually does better than trying to respond to them or to like, you know, because my oldest daughter and I, roommate one, have had I'm going to just say, a contentious relationship since she was probably 13. We have our ups and downs for sure, but the mother daughter relationship can be extremely challenging. And um, so my other two, really, we haven't had that like, um, you know, push back with each other as much. But with her, it definitely has been that way because she's very much like me in many areas. Now, if you ask her, she's going to say not at all. But there's a lot of things that we're similar in. She definitely has way more amazing things that she can do. And she's very great at many things that I'm not great at. But our personalities sometimes, where we're very soft hearted, we can give out criticism quickly but not take it. Things like that. Um and so she's had a rough time the last few years, and so she's been through some stuff and she will blame me for everything. And I have, you know, instantly wanted to just respond and say, well, and I would say stuff like, I understand that you feel that way. I'm sorry if you felt that way, but like, I was just trying to do this. And I was basically just trying to justify it, which it didn't need to be justified. It just needed to be, I understand, I hear what you're saying, you know. And so I've gotten better at just like taking the criticism, letting her, you know, get it off her chest, because that's all she needs to do is just let me know how she's feeling. And I don't need to respond and I don't need to fix it. And so, because I can't fix it because it was, you know, 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever the time frame. So I think that's a big thing.
I think when you do that too, and I don't know, this has been my experience with my roommate, but that when you do just sit there and go, oh, okay, I'm sorry to hear that, then they open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because they know that you're not going to judge and you're not going to contribute, but then it allows them a little bit of space to process that and then to add to the conversation instead of feeling like you're going to steer it in a different direction.
Yeah. And I am a steerer. I'm like type A, like, let's like do it this way. Let's like handle our, you know, our problems like this. Let's fix it, you know, whatever. But yeah, it has helped for me just to back off and not try and, you know, because I mean, I personally blamed my mom for 40 years, you know, for the way we were raised. And I've always loved her, but I had some major resentment, I guess is the right word, especially starting when I had children, because I thought, well, how the heck could my mom be so blind or whatever, you know, in certain scenarios. And then, you know, stuff happens with your children and you're like, oh my God, I'm a horrible mother. So I think parenting is just overall hard. So what we were going to talk about for how to is forgive. So that's a good transition. But the word is forgive. And how do you forgive? Because and mainly yourself.
Yeah, I think that that's probably the biggest portion of this that is important is if you forgiveness, well, and we talked about this a little bit just before we got on here, but Liz and I are very, for whatever reason, I think it was just getting knocked down our entire lives, where you just get to such a point where you're like, oh, fuck it. You know, I really don't care. I have no fucks to give. And I swear to God, I came out of the womb with that attitude. All through my childhood, you cared a little bit more when we were younger. And then you've slowly grown out of that right, desire to really give a shit about anyone. And I think that comes with age too. But then also, you see all your mistakes and you just go, well, that happened. But both of us have a very forward looking, futuristic, optimistic, and basically a congenial, upbeat, and positive outlook on life.
Yes.
You and I both are very good at just letting the past be and then
Mhm.
just constantly moving forward. You know,
Yes.
what's next? What's okay, that happened.
Right.
That happened. Great. Nothing I can do about it now. Keep going. And
Mhm.
that has a lot to do with like self-forgiving.
Yeah.
Because if you can't forgive yourself, you're not going to be able to get to the point where you can go, okay, you know, someone else made that mistake. Well, you know, I give them the benefit of the doubt. And I do 9 times out of 10 for most people. You know, I do think I have a limit where I have created a circle of people around me that I have forgiven everyone, but I don't necessarily choose to hang out with them. If they've
Right.
continuously, you know, done something where I'm not comfortable with it, or I have to keep forgiving them. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's fine. I forgive, but I also will maybe limit my contact with you.
Right.
Or, you know, as in the terms of like people you can't really escape, friends, family that are really close, then you kind of have to like guide them, give a little bit more critical feedback to where they can hear it and understand that, hey, this needs to happen, or I'm not going to be able to be in your life.
Right.
Because I'm not going to accept that type of behavior constantly.
Yeah.
But again, that only comes from being able to say, I've made mistakes, and shit, everyone knows I have.
I think you just you have to acknowledge where you failed. You know, I mean, people can point it out, and I think the biggest thing is like, yes, I fucked up, you know, yes, oh my God, that was horrible. But like really acknowledging it, not just saying the words, like going, you know, reflecting on it and then going, okay, so there is literally nothing that can be done to change it. It's happened, fucked up, and you just move on. And you have to not, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem doing this. I feel like the younger generation uh makes, they're like scared to make decisions for
They're
failure.
scared to fail.
Yes,
I think
very
that they
scared to
have
fail.
an idea of this. Well, they have an ideal,
Yes.
and if they fall short, and I think that is youth also,
Yeah.
because everything is a new thing that they can potentially fail at.
Right.
But you know, it's like the eagle out of the nest. Yeah, you could die,
Mm-hmm.
or you can fly.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's my attitude. It's been that way probably since I was very young. I'm not afraid to try new things, to um I'm not afraid to fail. I have failed so many times. It's terrifying. You know, if I were to look back and reflect on all of my failures, I would not be surviving right now, you know. But you just have to acknowledge that that happened and move on. And I think the reason, you know, even with us growing up, you have had and are still in therapy. I really didn't have any therapy. The only therapy I've ever had is with one of my roommate too. Other than in the cult. With roommate number 2, when she was going through a tough time, which I write about in the book, but she and I did some intense therapy, and it was hard.
yeah,
Very hard. I think that's probably that was the hardest thing to forgive myself for, of anything in my entire life.
yeah,
When you fail your children,
yeah,
or you feel like you failed your children,
right.
and that is definitely was and is the hardest thing. But I also know that I did everything I could to help her. She wouldn't be
Yes.
alive today if I didn't. So
Yeah,
it's just forgiving yourself. If you don't forgive yourself, you can't move on.
no.
There's no way. I mean, I would be literally laying in bed every day crying. You know?
Yeah, and that's like the guilt that you carry as a parent is
Oh yeah.
right? Because you feel like, okay, well, I raised them to be, you know, a reflection of who I am. And so
Sure.
then when they fuck up, you just feel it that much more.
Yeah.
But again, you have to be self,
Aware.
no, I say
Not aware.
self-forgiving, but also give yourself patience to
Yeah.
understand that they do have to fuck up.
Yes.
And then to
I
allow
also,
them that because they need that to learn.
yeah. I also think that, forgiving other people, I mean, I, I think there's probably, I don't know, there's probably a couple people in this world I wouldn't forgive. um, but for like the stuff that happened when growing up, um, talking about forgiving the cult leaders or forgiving the church, the cult. Um, I think I've forgiven them. I don't know. I don't feel like it's something that I don't dwell on it every day. I don't think about it. I've moved on.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a difference between moving on and forgiving. So maybe I haven't forgiven them, but like if anybody from there were to come and say something to me or want to talk to me or have a conversation, I would have a conversation with them.
Right.
I don't think I would have a problem with that. One of our teachers in school about do you remember, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago, reached out of the blue
I think I know who you're talking about.
on Facebook.
Yep.
And this was after, all of the things that we went to. We left. We've been gone for 15 years.
Wasn't
And I
there
get this
wasn't there
random DM.
something wasn't there something that prompted that though?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. This was around the time when my daughter was going through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was very vocal on Facebook. I was very I was on the hunt for people.
Yeah.
But I felt like people could tell that I was very hurt and in a very bad point in my life, personally. And one of the teachers that was at the school reached out. And I'm not kidding you. It literally made me bawl because he said, I don't know if if anyone has ever apologized to you. Now, this guy isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He is still involved in a religion because I have had interactions with him since, but he said, I don't know if anyone's ever apologized to you, but I want to apologize. I want to tell you that I'm sorry. And he personally didn't do anything to me. In fact, he was one of the best
teachers
I ever had at the school, where I actually learned something instead of just, being thrown stuff that wasn't even necessary for schooling. And he had probably the biggest impact on my learning. My sister would agree probably with that because he was just,
well, he was actually, of all of the teachers that we had,
the only educated one.
He was the only one that actually had yeah. Like the credential and the education to be qualified to be in that position.
I wish I could pull up that message, but it was, I mean, I probably still have it, but basically he just wrote me this long message saying he was sorry we were hurt, sorry, asked how our family was doing. Like, it was like legitimately heartfelt.
I will say, and this is a little deeper into what we experienced there. However, I think he knew.
Okay.
Because he was in the same class.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
So he was in the same class. He was also at the same college.
Mm-hmm.
And basically probably had a pretty good idea of
what had been going on there.
Yep.
Yeah. But it meant a lot to get that apology from somebody.
Yep.
I mean, incredible. But that was pretty intense. I remember just like crying. I read it to my husband, which he's like, okay, like, because he didn't even understand all of the cult experience because he was there for such a short period of time. He did understand it. In fact, his family was angry at him for being there. So he understood a little bit because he had been told once he couldn't go home to see his family. And so they were angry at the cult. But he didn't get it as much as Rachel did, because when I read it to her, she was like, holy shit. And she said that, I believe she said that at the time, he knew.
Yeah, well, he was in the same class with the pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the trouble all started.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But forgiveness.
Back to forgiveness. Yes. So, I mean, a simple apology always goes a long way if you're willing to accept it. But forgiveness it's easier said than done. I will say that. But I feel like if you can forgive or move on, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
The forgiving and moving on and choosing to go, okay, this has happened. I'm acknowledging that this has happened, but I can't change it. And I mean, if it's your parents, you go, well, do I love them? Well, yes. Then you have to give them some grace, forgive them, because I think all parents do the best that they can. Not all parents. There's horrible parents out there.
Oh yeah.
That, abandon their children and whatnot, as our father did. But like, there are, most parents don't enter parenthood thinking they're going to be a horrible parent. They think they're going to be the best parent ever.
Of course.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's your goal. And every child's different. Every parent's different. Every situation is different. So it's just a challenging thing. But if something happens that your parents did to you or didn't do to you or whatever, as far as us goes, like our mom literally did not give us a choice. We were raised in that cult. Right. She thought she was doing a great thing. We didn't share with her all of the trauma that was going on. Because we were, whatever situation, but she had so much faith and trust in that. And she believed that they were good people.
Yeah. And well, again, that goes back to like, there are things
yeah.
And then there are things that you believe.
Yes.
What do I know? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I believe? That goes back to the Bible. That goes back to
most religion is based on faith, though. So like, if it's a cult, they're going to use the Bible and they're going to use all of those things and tell you that, you have to have faith that this is true. Right. So anyway, but as a parent, you have to learn to forgive yourself for fucking up with your kids or doing something, terrible, and just go move on. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Of course.
So I don't know if that was really a how-to, but that was what we have done.
Right.
So yeah. Because God, we could go on for hours on that subject. It's hard. It's a hard topic.
It is, but it takes practice. Again, I think age helps. I think understanding that there's not a whole lot you're gonna get back. Other than being bitter and angry.
Yes.
And angry takes so much work.
Yes. Does take way more energy.
It takes a lot of energy to be angry and hold on to that.
Yeah.
And the best thing you could do, I mean, that's for health, wellness, brain, body, all of that, is that, you got to let shit go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got deep, but we got light. I don't know. That was a little deeper than normal.
It was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Tell me something funny,
Ooh.
Putting you on the spot here. Oh my gosh. Just tell me.
What?
Okay, so I know you posted on Facebook, but tell the story of the teas.
Oh yeah, this is
Okay.
appropriate.
I know.
Okay, speaking of Bibles, um, I'll try and do the abbreviated version so it doesn't take this episode into like 4 hours long.
Okay.
So I divorced my roommate's dad when she was in second grade. And I was completing my undergraduate degree at the time. As soon as I got done with my undergraduate, I got advised under duress that I should go do my graduate program. And I figured if I wasn't going to do it, then I wasn't ever going to do it. So between the divorce and moving to Oakland, California, Oakland, California, that's where this occurs. Oakland, California does not have the best public schools. My roommate is a little smarty pants. Although she is Amerasian, so she's half Iranian, Russian, and Turkish, and then half European mutt, she does get brown. However, she's not dark skinned, and I was worried about her little smarty pants, light colored white ass going to Oakland public schools. And judge me as harshly as you want to, but I knew sure as shit she was gonna get the shit beat out of her every day for being a smarty pants, and that would have pushed her in the wrong direction. So my only option, as I felt as a responsible parent for her, was to try to get her into a private school. There happened to be a private Catholic school about 2 blocks away from where we ended up moving in Oakland. Now, I never raised her with any type of religion. In fact, it had come up and we'd talk about it. Christmas time, I was like Santa Claus, and she figured out really early on that it wasn't real. She would have questions. She would ask me about it. Why does so and so go to this church, or why do they believe that? And I just said, you know what? People believe different things, and that's okay. That's just what they believe, and this is what they believe. And you can grow up and choose to believe whatever you want to believe. These are just the way that they believe right now. So I never gave her a negative or positive. I just told her as it is. Well, this same continuing way of teaching her to learn for herself continued in her first day at Catholic school, of which was completely confusing for both her and myself, because I'm like, oh shit, we go on campus, she has to wear a uniform. First day they line up, and they have to line up in their grade and in their class, and it's pretty small. So everybody can kind of see you, and we're all getting, judged because we're new and not Catholic. And they start with prayer, and Macy's looking at me and I'm looking at her, and I'm just like shrugging my shoulders going, oh, okay. So that was the first day. And then in that same first week, she came home with a lot of questions. Most of which I really didn't want to answer because I don't believe that way, right? So I just tried to be as like straight up as possible about all of her questions, and we tried to work through it together. She again came to her own conclusions. I did not force anything and did not push anything. But one of her funniest questions in that first week of school, it was late at night, I'm up studying for, whatever class in the morning, and she came out of her room, or actually we were on the way home from school, and she was like, Mom, why do Catholics like teas? And I was like, teas? Like in the drink? Like a cup of tea? And she's like, no, there's like teas all over school and stuff. And like, what is that about? She's talking about the freaking cross. And I was like, oh my God, this is genius. But basically, she had no clue. And she was just like, why are there teas everywhere? Like, is that their mascot? I don't know. Is that their logo? So anyway, yeah, Christianity and their affinity for teas.
She was like 6 or 7 at the time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just pretty young.
8. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That comes up.
She had no context and no idea.
Cracks me up every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the youngest have the best questions, so
yes,
listen to them
for sure.
All right. Well,
I guess we're gonna sign off here. Remember, any questions?
Yeah.
sistersdeclassified@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts, critiques, questions,
Comments, complaints.
comments, whatever. Also, share our podcast, like and share it. If you do listen to it every week and you haven't followed, please follow. We would love to have that and share it with your friends. Like I said, we've said before, it's not for everybody, but we would love to get more people to hear.
Keep spreading the word. We
Spreading
appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
In 1998, I was the whistleblower in a massive pedophilia case involving the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church, Cornerstone Baptist Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I was the lead key witness in a case that took down an entire network of child abusers. Charles D. Miller was sent to prison, and this was prior to the statute of limitations law being lifted in Colorado. In fact, shortly thereafter, it was lifted, and he would have gotten life in prison. My sister and I wrote a book about what it was like growing up in the cult. We're looking for publishers. We are going to self-publish, but we need your help. If you know of anyone, hit us up. Contact info is in the show notes. Thank you kindly.